Good morning. Today we are going to cover the topic of presentation skills, which is an important aspect of communication skills. When we look around people, we always see actors, politicians, or motivational speakers who are excellent communicators. Now, are all people born as good orators? Well, study shows that only 2% of the people in the world are gifted orators, whereas the rest 98% have to work towards it. Research has also proved that almost 40% people have an innate fear of public speaking. Irrespective of the size of the audience, many people have the fear of facing the public. Now, public speaking and presentation skills are very important for a person to succeed in his personal and professional life. An employee who is well presented at his meetings, presentations, discussions with the clients will always have an edge over the one who shies away and lacks confidence. Now, what is a presentation? A presentation is a channel of oral formal communication between the presenter and the audience. Usually, it is a one way communication where the presenter puts forth his point and there may be a question answer session by the audience in the end. If we understand what more about presentation, it is the mode of communication which is usually adopted to express your viewpoint on something, share a novel idea for a product launch, or give your departmental progress, or explain someone about a new concept. That is the purpose where a presentation is usually used. Presentation skills is an art, like any performing art, which has to be learnt, worked upon, rehearsed, and executed with confidence. Now, when we are saying it is an art, let us see what preparation has to be undertaken to become an effective presenter. There are four aspects on which we need to learn when we say we have to become an effective presentation. The first is where are you going to present? That is the study of the environment. The second is what are you going to present? That is preparation of the contents and your slides. How are you presenting? That means your physical appearance and body language as a speaker. And the last important factor is how you are going to present. That is the actual delivery of the presentation. Let us look at it one by one. The first thing, as we said, is study of the environment. That is the venue where you are going to give a presentation. What is the equipment used over there? The seating arrangement, the speaker's position. When we say the seating arrangement, it means the distance between the speaker and the audience. Accordingly, you will have to modify your voice. What is the type of mic which is available to you? Is it a podium mic? Is it a hand mic? Or is it a collar mic? That is going to decide your movements and gestures. Do we have a podium in place? For beginners and first timers, it is advisable to ask for a podium while giving your presentation. That boosts your confidence. When we say study of the environment, it also includes the organizers. Where have you been invited to? Who has invited you? The name and the designation and the important persons who are there as part of the organization. You have to acknowledge them and thank them in your opening speech. What is the occasion? You have been called for a meeting, a seminar, a workshop, an induction program. Who is the audience? All this has to be kept in mind. What is the age group of the audience, their status, your relationship with them? All this is going to decide the content of your presentation. One more important thing is the time available for the presentation. How much time have been allotted? Please remember, whenever you're making a presentation, if the time allotted is 1 hour, you have to prepare for 40 minutes maximum, because you also have to keep time for running through your presentation or maybe some question answer sessions from the audience. Then, when it comes to venue, also who are the other speakers? Their names have to be mentioned before you begin your presentation. Now we come to the second level, that is preparing your content and your text. The most important thing that you're going to do is that when the topic has been given to you, gather as much information as you have about the topic. Then release or remove the irrelevant information. What you feel is important, only that you're going to keep. Give it a proper shape. Arrange it in a logical sequence and ensure that there is a smooth logical flow from one point to another. That is very important when you're preparing a presentation. Write down the entire contents, edit them, correct them, practice them till you are confident, and then put them in a presentation. Usually it is said that the average speed of presentation is 100 words per minute, but you have to find out your own speed by practicing the delivery of the speech. Your presentation has to sound like a conversation. It should be like a dialogue between you and your audience. Now, since you're not aware about the exact composition of the audience, about every individual person, It is advisable that you are going to use simple language. Keep very short and crisp sentences which the audience is going to understand. In a presentation, the style always has to be formal because it is a formal communication between you and your audience. One important thing which people appreciate as an audience is humor. But we also have to remember three things when we are adding humor to your presentation. The first is it has to look natural. It has to look light, relevant to the topic which you are presenting, and obviously without hurting the sentiments of the people who are in the audience. Remember, for first timers and beginners, it is advisable to skip the humor part because we also have to be confident in delivering the humor. So best avoid it for first timers. In any type of communication, the opening and the closing are the areas which make the most impact. That is going to decide whether you are an effective presenter, communicator, or no. So you have to focus on the opening lines, rehearse it, practice it till they come naturally to you. Introduce yourself to the people, the audience. That is very important so that the audience remembers you. Now, this introduction has to be strong enough because this is the point where you are going to make an immediate connect, an immediate rapport with your audience. Try to focus the attention of your audience in different ways by asking them questions in different manners. But remember, without expecting an answer. Because the audience usually does not like a speaker who is asking them questions or expecting them to be attentive all the time. State some facts and figures. Use appropriate proverbs and quotations. That is how you are going to focus the attention of your audience throughout your presentation. Now the opening lines are done. Now we come to the body, the main text of your presentation. Obviously, it has to be carefully planned. Select few main points and elaborate upon them. How are you going to keep your slides for presentation? It is a formal communication, obviously. The slides have to be very simple, a very big font size which can be seen from the last bench of the audience. Use one color only. It should not be a multicolor presentation because it is a formal presentation. Apply the rule of 6 and 3. That is maximum 6 lines in a slide and 3 to 4 words per line. That is what is going to make your presentation effective and very attractive and not distracting the audience. So we need to remember this while making a presentation. Now this is a wrong way of making a presentation. This slide I have incorporated to show you how a presentation should not be. Look at the colors they have used, the different fonts, the designs, the animation. So all this is not expected in the presentation because that is distracting the attention of the audience from you as a speaker. It is attracting them towards the slides. So these are the common mistakes which we are going to avoid while making a presentation. Now we come to the conclusion part of the presentation, or the text rather, which I've already discussed, that the opening and the closing are the areas of maximum impact. So when we are concluding, we need to remember 2 or 3 points. As you are about to finish, conclude with a brief summary of the entire presentation. A gist about whatever your presentation should be the last slide of your presentation. Invite questions from the audience before finishing because till now it was a one-way communication where you were speaking and the audience was just listening to you. So now invite questions, try to solve their doubts if any. 2 things that we need to remember in a conclusion are that first is that the conclusion should not look dragged. You should not be concluding for 3, 4, 5 minutes. And at the same time, it should not be abrupt. The audience has to understand that yes, the speaker is going to finish in the next minute or a half. That is very important. So that is how you're going to conclude your presentation. The third most important aspect on which we are preparing is your physical appearance and body language. Obviously, it is a formal communication, so you have to be formally dressed. But at the same time, be comfortable in the clothes you are wearing. Do not try anything new on that day, whether it is your footwear, whether it is your clothes, the blazer, tie, anything. Because you have to be comfortable, a small discomfort will affect your presentation in a wrong way. So please be very comfortable in the clothes that you're wearing. Be well groomed for men as well as women from head to toe. Practice a comfortable posture. How are you going to stand? Where are you going to keep your hands? All these things are going to reduce your anxiety on the D-Day. Eye contact is something which is very crucial in any form of public speaking. It is said that you should have a brief eye contact with everybody in the audience or with maximum number of people in the audience. But please remember, the ideal comfort level for eye contact is 3 seconds. Do not look at an individual beyond 3 seconds when you are in any type of public speaking. Your movements and gestures have to be minimum because otherwise they will distract the audience. They will be focusing more on your movements and gestures than your presentation or what you are speaking. So try to minimize your gestures and movements. It also shows more of anxiety. When you are having too many gestures and movements, it means you're trying to overcome your anxiety. So we are going to avoid that when we are in public speaking. And obviously, try to manage a natural smile from time to time because audience and people will always like to look at a pleasant personality and not somebody who's very tensed, nervous or angry. So remember to maintain a natural smile during your presentation. Be comfortable in using the visual aids. That is something which we need to rehearse beforehand. You cannot be operating, it should not happen that you're operating the laptop for the first time or the pen drive is not working. So such care has to be taken beforehand. It will help you to reduce your anxiety during the final presentation. You also have to avoid too loud or too soft a voice during any of your public speaking. If the voice is too soft after a particular time, the audience will not make efforts to try and listen to you. Or if it is too loud, it will be irritating for the audience and then they will not be listening to you. So all the preparation that you've made for the presentation or rather to be an effective presentation will go down the drain. See, when we are giving a presentation, any public speak, we are nothing less than actors who are trying to give a very effective performance. So voice modulations and variations wherever necessary have to be incorporated in any of your public speaking, just as in presentations. Pause has a very important role to play in any public speaking or presentations. Now, when should we take a pause? There are 2 or 3 advantages of taking a pause. As a presenter, as a speaker, it gives you some breather, some rest time for maybe 30 seconds, 40 seconds. Then you can also think and plan about what next you're going to speak. And from the audience point of view, you can take a pause before you're going to begin an important point or before you're going to, which is the highlight of your presentation, so that you are getting the attention of the distracted persons. It may happen after 40-45 minutes, there are people who are looking here and there, but there is something important from your presentation which you need to focus. So this pause will ensure that the people come back to you and they listen to you. Or in the alternative situation, you can take a pause once you have said something important. This gives time for the audience to ponder, to absorb what you have said, and it only increases your effectiveness as a presenter. Now, the most important thing which most of us neglect is taking care of your health. Remember, if we are in our best of our health, it ensures that you are more energetic, enthusiastic, and confident during your presentation. Now we come to the final aspect. So whatever rehearsal we have done till now, whatever practicing the presentation you have made, the venue you have studied, your physical appearance, but what is most important is how you deliver the talk. That is something which is most important. Otherwise, all the preparation is gone down the drain if you are not presenting it effectively. So more than preparing the contents, in fact, in public speaking, the actual delivery is very, very important and crucial. Here, rehearsals and practice are actually very, very important. Practice the presentation till you are conversationally comfortable with the matter. The presentation has to sound like a conversation between you and your audience. So when we are rehearsing it, there is one more advantage. It helps you to check whether you are within the given time limit. Always remember, dear students, audience will always like a presenter who's finishing before time, not the one who's exceeding his schedule. So once you're rehearsing, practicing the delivery, you know whether you're keeping within the given time frame. To begin with, we can practice in front of the mirror. So it will know what gestures, what movements, what posture you are keeping. It will help for self-analysis. Then maybe you can do the presentation in front of your friends and family members who can offer a useful feedback which you can incorporate as a change in your presentation. One thing which you need to remember is that you should never learn a presentation by heart. It is not a speech which you are giving in school, because if you do not remember, you are stuck up then and there. So because it is a conversation between you and an audience, you cannot afford to learn it by heart. It is advisable to have a complete dress rehearsal before the final day, whether it is your contents, about what you are going to wear, How are you going to stand? Where are you keeping your hands? How are you going to handle the visual aids? Are you comfortable in them? Actually stand and run the presentation as if there is an audience in front of you. So this is what is going to make you an effective presenter. This is going to boost your confidence. So with all this preparation, no one can stop you from becoming an effective presenter. All the best. Thank you.